In the darkness of a crumbling century, when hope had thinned like breath on cold glass, the world stood on the edge of silence. Cities trembled under the weight of invisible enemies. Children vanished into fever. Mothers sat at empty bedsides. And across borders, without warning, a simple virus, faceless, breathless, moved like wind through keyholes and crowded trains. It did not wear armor. It did not fire bullets. And yet, nations began to fall. There was a time when paralysis came without warning. One day, a child ran through fields of sunlight. The next, they could not rise from their bed. Polio did not choose its victims by wealth or will. It was not moved by prayer or pride. Presidents and peasants alike felt its grip. In 1952 alone, in a single country, over 21,000 children were left maimed. Iron lungs hummed like funeral organs in sterile hospital halls. Hope itself seemed intubated. But even then, even in the winter of medicine, hands did not stop moving. A young researcher named Jonas Salk stood in the shadows of the great laboratories of Pittsburgh. He did not seek fame. He feared the clock more than critics. He understood, perhaps better than any, that nature waits for no one, and death negotiates with no soul. The world did not need miracles. It needed courage, precision, discipline. It needed someone to choose understanding over fear. And so Salk worked, with bloodied fingers and sleepless eyes, until a new kind of miracle emerged, one not of divine invention, but of human will. The inactivated polio vaccine. It was not a sword. It was not a cure. It was a shield, humble, deliberate, and powerful enough to change the course of history. In 1955, when the vaccine was declared safe, churches rang bells not for the dead, but for the saved. And yet, Salk never patented it. When asked who owned the vaccine, he replied, "The people." Could you patent the sun? In that answer was a map, not just for medicine, but for morality. Healing, he believed, must remain untethered from greed. But history never walks in straight lines. While one vaccine quieted the chaos, another battle rose behind it. In Africa, in South Asia, in forgotten corners of the world where health systems had been eroded by war, corruption, or colonial neglect, polio waited. It evolved. It learned. And so, too, did we. Enter Albert Sabin, rival, thinker, healer. His oral vaccine, taken by mouth, became the bridge that Salk's injection could not reach. Together, they did not agree on method, but they shared a creed. No child should crawl when they once ran. It is not the scientist who saves the world, it is the society that listens to them. And in the decades that followed, nations did more than listen, they acted. Mass immunization campaigns swept across continents. Volunteers walked for days to reach a single child. Coolers with vials became more precious than gold. The vaccine moved by boat, camel, bike, and barefoot messengers. Behind each dose was not just a doctor, but a promise. You matter. You are protected. You will rise again. Still, the virus found cracks not in science, but in our unity. Rumors became weapons. Fear masqueraded as freedom. Some refused the gift bought by generations of sacrifice. And with every pocket of resistance, the virus sharpened its teeth. In 2010, 2015, 2020, new cases emerged, not from a wild strain, but mutated versions of the weakened virus itself. It was never a flaw in science, it was a flaw in us. Complacency, disbelief, the forgetting of how easily everything can fall. The real enemy was never just polio. It was the erosion of memory. The slow fading of the stories once etched in iron lungs and tear-soaked sheets. We do not inherit wisdom, we must choose it. We must retell it, because the hands that saved the world were once blistered, bleeding, trembling, and they did not stop. Think of the mothers who carried children on their backs through jungles just to reach a clinic. Think of the vaccinators who were shot at by extremists and still returned the next day. Think of the medical students in remote villages who learned to make cold chain carriers from clay, banana leaves, and ice. They did not wait for permission. They moved because every second mattered. Medicine, when true to its calling, is not a job, it is a vow. One that echoes from Hippocrates to Nightingale to today. It is the vow to stand between suffering and surrender. To hold the line when society unravels. To speak when others are silent. And to remember always that data without compassion is just noise. We are not here because of one man. We are here because of millions. Because people with no statues, no books, no headlines, believed that a world without disease was not only possible, it was worth everything. Even their lives. These are not just moments of the past. They are instructions. They are calls to arms disguised as history. The virus still moves. In slums where sewage runs with rain. In camps where families live 6 to a tent. In countries torn by war, where the cold chain fails and syringes run dry. But so too do the hands. The hands that reach, stitch, inject, carry, teach. The hands that saved the world once and are trying still. Let no one say again that one person cannot matter. One researcher, one nurse, one field worker, one mother who chooses to vaccinate. These are the pivot points, the silent revolutions. The reason nations did not fall or rose again from the brink. The next war will not be fought with guns. It will be fought in classrooms, clinics, conversations. It will be won or lost in our willingness to listen, to trust, to remember, and to act. Because the collapse of nations does not begin with the virus. It begins with disbelief, with the forgetting of the hands that held the line. And the vaccine, that quiet triumph of mind and mercy, is not just a shield against disease. It is a reminder we are not helpless. We never were. And when the next test comes, as it surely will, may we not ask who will save us. May we ask instead, how soon can we begin?